Grant. How you feeling?
Good, man. It was a long camp. 13 weeks was my notice. Super long. I'd rather have a longer camp than a shorter camp, so no complaints.
Yeah, so this is a perfect, I guess, this is a perfect amount of time in between fights for you.
Yeah, I like to stay active. I've gotten 2 fights a year since I've been signed to the UFC. I wish I could do more, but I totally get it. You know, I'm a hard guy to find fights for, and there's already a bunch of, super talented guys in the UFC that they need to find fights for, so I totally get it. I think this was one of my shortest layoffs in between fights, and I'm super happy about that.
Speaking about the fight, on paper, it's actually a pretty interesting fight between two really good grapplers. Usually when that happens, it turns into a kickboxing fight. How do you kind of foresee this fight going down?
I mean, they asked me the same thing about Joe Selecki. He's a really good grappler, and they said, are we going to kickbox? And I said, only if he can stop the takedown. I'm not afraid to strike with Garcia. I think he's phenomenal everywhere. I think he's a really, really well-rounded fighter, and I think he's super, super tough. I think I'm a better fighter, and I think I'm just as tough as he is. We have a game plan, but one of my best qualities is I'm a problem solver. It's why I shoot so much in fights. Is I take a shot. Okay, you stuff that one. I'm gonna take another shot until I get you figured out how I can get you down. I think that's what this fight's gonna turn into, is me taking shots, him stuffing them, and me figuring out how I can get the takedown safely.
What do you think when they offered you Rafa Garcia?
Yeah, I was thinking that my next fight was going to be in the top 15, but I definitely think that this is a segue into the top 15. I wouldn't be surprised if on Monday I was ranked after beating Garcia. I think he's top 15 worthy. I think he's a very, very tough opponent. Not to put myself down or anything like that, I think the line is the betting line is absolutely insane. I think he's a lot better than the betting line is showing, which kind of sucks because if I go out there and dominate him, it doesn't look good for me. And if I go out there and have a close fight, I just beat a really, really good guy, and I don't even get the credit for beating a really good guy that way.
Why do you think that the odds are so crazy? Is it because of his layoff? Is it because the people are so high on you? Is it a little bit of both?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think people know how good I am. I think people are underestimating how good he is. But I think it's a little bit of both. At the end of the day, it's not my job to figure that out. They put a problem in front of me, and I've got to solve it.
What are your thoughts on ring rust? Rafa's been out of the cage for a while. Every fighter has a different thought on ring rust. What's yours?
I don't really believe in it. I think it's a lot like going to the chiropractor. It doesn't really work unless you believe it works. So I don't really believe in ring rust unless you believe in ring rust. But I think that's you. That's not the time off. There are guys that we see that I think need time off. Like who's the French dude that just lost to Moicano?
BSD.
Yeah, I think he needs to take some time off. I think he needs to take a lot of time off. And some would say, well, what about ring rust? I think time off would be really good for him. He's been really active. He's taken a lot of damage. I think he needs to get better and come back, and I don't think ring rust would be a problem for him.
You said recently that you rather be dominant than exciting. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, there are guys that would rather lose an exciting fight than win a boring one, and I'm here to do one thing, and that's win. I don't care about anybody but me getting that W. Exciting fights pay the bills until you get cut. Winning is what it is. And I think I'm taking a little bit more of a effort to be exciting in this fight, but if I have to choose between being exciting and winning, I'm taking winning. And just to go off that, I go into fights prepared to fight to the death. And then I realize how easy it is for me up to this point to take people down. And if I can take you down and hold you down, I'm going to do it. The wars will come. I promise you that I am going to, at some point, be in a war where I have to show my heart and show how tough I am. It's going to happen. There's no need to get there early.
And is this whole thought process kind of like from like a backlash from your last fight, or maybe your loss to Bobby Green, or is it just kind of like always been your mindset?
I want to be a world champion. And I totally get that exciting guys get to skip that line, but there's a lot of really exciting guys that never got the belt because they lose fights they shouldn't have. It's a game of inches in this sport. It is a game of inches. And if you make one mistake, we saw it against Bobby Green. I made one mistake and he made me pay for it. It set my career back probably 2-3 years, and I've got to fight my way back now. So I would rather win fights. I'm here to win fights, and I know I'm not the most exciting fighter, but I think out of all the grapplers, heavy styles, I think I have one of the more dominant ones that gets finishes. So there you go.
With you saying that, like exciting fighters cut the line a little bit, do you foresee yourself taking the Bilal Muhammad, the Merab style, of winning a whole bunch of fights before you get a title shot?
I have no idea, man. I've thought about that. But I can tell you for sure that if I lose, that road's going to be longer.
And then finally for me, man, can you talk about Moicano's resurgence of just being this savage? Like, what's it like being in the room with him and just his mindset?
I don't think anything's changed. I think you guys are just paying more attention to him because he's being a lot more outspoken. He's being more political, and he's saying the stuff that people don't usually say on the mic. He's always been that good. He's always been what you saw him do in his last fight. He does that to pretty much everybody in the gym every day. He is that good. He's always been that good. I think you guys are just paying more attention to him because now he's being, brash on the mic and saying all of this stuff and that's him. Like, that's not an act. That is 100% Money Moicano right there.
Can you see him making a run for the title and eventually fighting for it?
Absolutely. I think he could fight for it now. I mean, not like on paper-wise, but I think he is good enough that he could win that belt right now. Unfortunate circumstances happened to him. He was supposed to fight Arman Sarukian, another fantastic fighter. Who knows how that fight would have gone, but maybe Moicano beats him, and now he's the number one contender, but he got injured. It's just this sport, and this is one of the reasons, like you said, like maybe I'm going to have that Bilal Muhammad route. I don't take any of that into consideration because I know that this sport can change any second. All it takes is me being able to make weight on 2 weeks' notice, and I'm in. We need somebody to fight so-and-so, and Grant can make the weight, get him in there. Oh, wow, great performance, put him in for the belt.
Gotcha. And then finally, it seems like Arman's fighting Islam next. I just want your thoughts on that fight, and who do you think wins that fight?
So you're asking me to pick with a guy that I've trained with. Come on, it's a super tough fight. It's obviously the number one guy right now versus the champion right now. I think it could go either way. I'm giving the edge towards Arman because of the weight cut. I think the weight cut is too much for Islam right now. I really, really do. And I've got a rough weight cut too, so I know what it's like. I've seen him during his weight cuts. I think his weight cut plays way more into it than people think.
Gotcha. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How much weight do you usually have to cut?
None of your business.
Sounds like a lot, huh? Well, you mentioned Moicano. You said that now he's talking more brash on the mic. Is that something he's always been in the gym? Has he always been more of a talker in the gym that maybe we're just now catching on to?
Yeah, I think so. Like, talking to him, what you see is what you get. And it was kind of, to me, it was like when I met him, I was like, man, this isn't the Moicano that I saw in fights and stuff like that. Like, he's a really funny dude, and I'm glad that he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, he's hilarious. You mentioned the timeline. You thought it got bumped back 2 or 3 years. So is that in your mindset, 2 or 3 years, that's where you envision yourself that you would be fighting for a title? Or do you think that you could make that time skip a lot more, maybe a year or two?
Yeah, I don't know. Numbers say that I've got until I'm 36 to win a belt realistically. And I'm 30 now. So I got 6 more years, and all I can do is just win.
Are you the kind of guy that puts a particular game plan, or do you just focus on yourself before you go in there? Like, do you have a set game plan for Rafa going in, or are you just worried about you?
No, yeah, I definitely have game plans. I think we've got a very good game plan set up. But like I said before, I'm a problem solver. So if that game plan doesn't work, I'm going to figure out a way to win. I've been in tough fights before. I've fought guys like Garcia before who are very, very tough. I don't take easy fights. I take tough fights and make them look easy. And that's I think people are seeing I am very, very dominant. And it's not that every fight is easy. It's not that I fought turds. I fought a bunch of really, really good guys, undefeated guys that haven't been finished before, guys that, this is going to be the guy because he does this and this. And I for the most part, I beat them all. So I think that unless you get lucky, I don't believe in luck. Unless you catch me early, I think it's going to be a hard time beating me. Real quick, Garcia, he's not a huge finisher. He's a grinder, and I just think it's going to be really hard to beat me by outgrinding me.
Yeah. Who takes the best notes? And because it sounds like you watch a lot of fights, I'm sure your coaches do as well. Who does most of the note taking?
For my personal fights, I would say we're pretty even. I don't think anybody watches fights as much as Mike Brown does. That dude is an absolute nerd. I've got, if you look at my phone, I've got pictures of my dog. I've got pictures of my friends and some Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I like and some inappropriate pictures of my wife probably somewhere. But if you look at his phone, every single video and picture and everything is fights. Every single one. I've never seen a picture of his dog. It's all pictures of fights, and the dude is an absolute nerd. And when you put a nerd like me with a nerd like that, man, you're gonna create a world champion.
Yeah. What a savage! Not even a picture of his dog. That's
That, bro, right? That's what I said. I looked.
You mentioned that you mentioned Benoit Saint Denis and other guys that there's a point where they just need to take time off. Is that because is it just the body healing up, or is it a mind? Is it a mind losing a sharpness thing? Like, what is it that you think there's points where fighters just need to take a step away?
This is my personal opinion,
Yep.
and I would hope that Benoit does not take offense to this.
Yeah, and I just use his as one of the names.
Right. Yeah. I think Benoit's problem is where he trains. And I ran into this when I was training in Missouri. I trained there for 8 years, and it's not that it wasn't a great gym. It's not that they didn't know what they were talking about. I was just burnt out, seeing the same guys, training with the same training partners, throwing the same jab. I think sometimes you need to get out of that constant circle and see something new. And when I went to American Top Team, yes, they've got amazing training partners. Yes, they've got amazing coaches. Yes, they've got an amazing facility. But I think the number one thing that really boosted my career is I was excited about training again. I was excited to get my ass whooped. I was excited to learn something new. I was excited to nerd out about stuff again. And I believe, I don't know for sure, I believe that's what Benoit is going through right now. I think he's the best guy in his gym. I think he's better than his coaches. And I think he needs better training partners, better coaches, and he needs to get out of that monotony, out of his comfort zone. Again, that is just my opinion.
Yeah, and even outside of him, do you think that just fighters in general, whether they've been a long time at a particular gym, just as a variety, that they should go visit another gym just to maybe just switch it up a little bit or train with new partners? Would you suggest that to just fighters in general, to maybe step out of your gym for a little bit, get some different looks?
Yeah, I think it absolutely, and it also is very fighter dependent. Guys, if you've been with a gym for a long time and you lose one fight, don't be throwing everything to the wind. Like, losses happen. It's all good. But for me, when I was training at Glory, I knew I needed to make a change. It was something in my heart that I knew I needed to do if I was really honest about becoming a world champion. And I put it off. And then I went to a draw with a guy that I was a minus 550 favorite against. And I was like, okay, I'm religious. I was like, this is my sign from God. I need to change something.
And this might sound like an odd question, but it kind of came up earlier.
I love odd questions, just so you know.
If you knew that your opponent had staff, would you still be willing to go in there and fight if you knew in advance?
Absolutely. I hope he has staff.
Why is that? Because he's weakened the body?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because we hear that oftentimes. Like, I know once a commission hears that the fight's off, but we often hear from fighters that are like, bro, it's not a big deal. If I knew the staff was there, I'd still fight.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've fought with staff plenty of times. I fought Bobby Green with staff. I fought Demir with staff. Like, I'm good, man. Let's go.
Last one.
I don't have staff now, just so everybody's aware. Okay, I don't.
Keys to the victory. What needs to happen to make sure you get your arm raised on Saturday?
I think it's just be ready for problem solving. I think he's got really good takedown defense. He does, and he's super tough and he's super aggressive. And I think he's going to be shooting on me a lot. We prepared for that. I think. Be ready to problem solve. I think he's going to throw some things at me I haven't seen before, and I have prepared for that mentally, physically. All I can do is go out there and try not to get knocked out.
Well, what's the most valuable Yu-Gi-Oh card that you own?
Bro, this is. You sure you want to go down this route? So I don't own a specific card that's like super valuable. The most valuable card I probably have is like maybe $1,000, but my collection together is probably worth somewhere close to $50,000.
Okay.
If my wife is watching this,
$5. It's only
5.0 is what I said.
What I gotta ask? Who are you playing with Yu-Gi-Oh cards? Like, what are you doing? Are you just collecting them and just?
No, I play.
Purely
I play like 3 days a week.
Other fighters or who?
No, absolutely not. Other fighters, they make fun of me a lot. No, I go to shops around. I got a bunch of friends. A couple of my Yu-Gi-Oh buddies are actually coming to the fight, so we'll probably play fight day.
Are you gonna have him dress up like some sort of?
No, but I would actually love to do that. I've wanted. So there's a really big tournament. It's called YCS, and I watch it. There's a couple of times a year. I watch it every time, and I really want to go to YCS. But dude, those guys are savages. Like those guys are absolute nerds. All of them virgins. Like I want to go to YCS at some point. You will see me at a YCS at some point. But right now I'm still focusing on the fighting. So we'll see how it goes.
Were you ever like a fan of Pokemon, or is it like you?
So I play a lot of different TCGs, but Pokemon was never really my thing. I'm just not into it as much as I like Yu-Gi-Oh. I like Union Arena. There's a new game that just came out. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm gonna probably get into that too. But my number one is definitely Yu-Gi-Oh. I play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh.
What about Magic the Gathering?
I've played it. It's just here. Okay, so here's the thing. I have a very I'm an adrenaline junkie. I have a very all TCGs, that stands for trading card games, by the way. Yeah, stands for trading card games. All TCGs are slow. It's like I go, you go, it's like Dutch fighting, boom, 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 boom. Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh is different. It's like you got a turn that could last, and it's like you got one turn going here, and you can interact during that turn. And most games last to about 45 minutes, and it's very high pace, very fast. You can lose on a dime, you can win on a dime. I like that. I play other TCGs, but man, it's just like, I'll set this card and now you can go, and then it's like, okay, I'll do that. And so it takes a long time getting going, but I like it. It's fast paced.
I'm assuming you have a Blue Eyes White Dragon card.
I have a quarter century rare Blue Eyes White Dragon, and I actually just pulled it. I was actually quite happy about that. I have an LLC for my fighting, and it's called Exodia Enterprise, which is a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Little something about Grant Dawson.
There you go.
All good? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.